Welcome to the Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where purpose meets performance and leaders are built to shift legacies. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, executive strategist, speaker, and the secret weapon behind leaders who drive transformation at the highest levels. Each episode delivers bold truths, power skills, and real-world strategies to help you lead with precision, show up with presence, and build the kind of influence that outlasts trends. This is the space where high-impact decisions are born, where influence is intentional, and where the bold don't just lead, they change the game. So if you're ready to rise, ready to lead, and ready to create the kind of impact that moves markets, missions, and minds, you're in the right place. Behind every legendary decision maker is an even more powerful secret: a trusted advisor. Not the loudest voice in the room, but the wisest. The one who dares to say what others won't and see what others can't. If you're not that person yet, the question is, why not? Here's a truth most people miss. Powerful leaders don't need more people agreeing with them. They need someone bold enough to challenge their thinking, smart enough to navigate the politics of power, and humble enough to make it about them, not about you. Consider this. Research shows 85% of CEOs credit their biggest career moves to the guidance of a trusted inner circle. Yet only 10% of professionals ever earn a seat at that table. So if you're ever wondering why certain people seem to have influence far beyond their title, or why their advice shapes decisions that change companies, careers, and even history, it's because they've mastered the role of the trusted advisor. And today I'm going to show you how you can do the same. Let's talk about why this role is rare, yet powerful. At the highest levels of leadership, the air gets thin. Decisions are heavier, risks are greater, and the cost of making the wrong call is not just financial, it's reputational and legacy defining. In those moments, leaders don't need cheerleaders. They need strategic thought partners who can deliver uncomfortable truths with grace, see beyond the immediate crisis and guide toward long-term outcomes, and be a calming, stabilizing force when the room is filled with anxiety and chaos. But here's the catch. As I said before, trusted advisors are rare, and we must ask ourselves the question of why. Because it requires you to master the delicate balance of confidence without ego, loyalty without blind obedience, and influence without positional authority. I want to introduce to you the TRUST framework. It's my 5 secrets that you can use to become a trusted advisor. Let me break this down. 5 essential principles that position you as the voice powerful leaders rely on. Let's talk about the T in the TRUST framework. It's telling the truth even when it costs you. You see, leaders don't pay for sugar-coated advice. They pay for clarity. And sometimes the truth costs you your comfort. You've got to ask yourself this question. Am I more focused on being liked or being trusted? And for a lot of people, the answer is clear. They want to be liked. But when you want to become that trusted advisor, there are some things that you need to do differently. I want you to begin to practice using direct but respectful language. I want you to replace statements like, "I think we may want to consider," with more powerful statements. Based on the data and what I'm seeing, the strategic move for you would be. You see the difference there? One is playing it safe. And I'll be honest, this is something that my direct language has really kind of gotten me in trouble with some people. Those leaders who weren't focused on the bigger picture, who they wanted to be liked, and they felt a little insecure. But you've got to drown out that noise and focus on what the outcome is. And that's being the best support partner, the best thought partner, the best strategist that you can be for the person that you support. The R in the trust framework. Remain anchored in confidence, not ego. You see, confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. But ego, it's loud and it kills trust. Here's a myth for you. Leaders don't want to be challenged. We hear that all the time. Oh, they don't want to be challenged. And that's not always the case. Here's the truth. The most powerful people respect those who challenge them, especially when it's done with courage and respect. I'm going to give you something that you can use. It's a technique that I call the insight sandwich. It's affirmation, a hard truth, a solution. That's it. Affirmation, a hard truth, and the solution. Let me give you an example. I know you're committed to the long-term vision. Here's the challenge I see that could possibly derail us, or that could, I would actually remove possibly, that could derail us. My recommendation is that you see what you did there? You're giving them the affirmation. I know you're committed to the long-term vision. You're giving them the hard truth. Here's the challenge I see with that. Here's the challenge I see that could derail us. And then your solution. I recommend that my recommendation is that you. Let's move to the U in the trust framework. Understand and navigate the power dynamics. If you don't understand power dynamics, you'll do one of two things. You'll either shrink back or you'll overstep and burn bridges. Now, here's the thing. Overstepping and burning bridges, of course, has a significant impact on your career, and you don't want that. But shrinking back has a significant impact on your health and your self-esteem, which ultimately impacts your career. So you don't want that either. So you've got to be able to understand and navigate the power dynamics. You see, trusted advisors read the room. They know when to speak, how to frame their message, and when to hold back until the right moment presents itself. And I want you to even practice this, even with your family and your friends. Just because it needs to be said doesn't need to be said right then at that time, without any framing, without the sandwich, and by you. You see, when you understand and navigate power dynamics, man, that's a game changer for you. So here's a power tip. Watch for when leaders ask questions. That's when your invitation to influence is available for you. Don't miss your opportunity. They're going to give you what I like to call the keys, right? They're going to throw things out. It's up to you to pay attention to what's happening. Here's the S. See beyond the horizon. Trusted advisors aren't just reactive, they're predictive. They help leaders avoid landmines before anyone else sees them. I cannot tell you how many times leaders have said, I am excellent at helping them to mitigate the risk, how to eliminate the risk, how to avoid missteps. This is something that you can actually develop. It's paying attention. It's seeing what's happening out there, what's on the horizon, what's the temperature, what are people saying, what are you feeling, how in tune are you? And if you can do that, you position yourself to help them to avoid situations that could be detrimental to them, their legacy, their reputation, their success. So always present insights in a now, next, and future format. Let me give you an example. Here's the immediate decision we need to make. Here's what we should be planning for next. And here's the long-term implication this sets in motion. This positions you as a forward thinker, and leaders crave people who can see around corners and know how to present that information to the team. And then the T, trade comfort for courage. If you're waiting for the right time to speak up, you've already missed it. Trusted advisors understand that comfort is the enemy of influence. Now, I want you to think about what I just said earlier. And I meant that, but I also mean this. Sometimes I see people who are sharp and they're waiting for that perfect opportunity. It's not going to always be perfect. But you've got to think about, what are the implications? Is this the right time? Is this the perfect time? The right time could be when a leader is in a great mood. But what if that right time never comes? Because you can be working for a leader, with the leader, or at an organization, and things are just challenging, or maybe they have some challenging things going on in their personal life. So what really is the right time? You've got to, again, be able to predict some things. You've got to be able to really understand, is it perfect for you, or is it the right situation? What's the environment? So that's the thing there. Sometimes you may have to stay a bit late. Sometimes you may have to go ahead and speak up, depending upon what's at stake. But waiting for you to be totally comfortable may not necessarily happen. So comfort zones are the danger zones for trusted advisors. The question isn't whether the conversation will be hard. The question is, are you brave enough to have it? Because you're going to have some hard, challenging conversations if you're going to be the trusted advisor. Every week, have one conversation that makes you slightly uncomfortable, where you offer insight, push back on a popular opinion, or highlight a blind spot. The more you do this, the more you strengthen your advisory muscle. So let's talk about real world application for you. Let's make this personal. I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Whose ear do you currently have? And whose ear do you need? When was the last time you challenged a leader's thinking respectfully but boldly? And are you more concerned with being liked or being trusted? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Leaders remember the person who brought clarity in chaos, not the one who nodded along. Your challenge for this week is to identify one relationship where you have the opportunity to elevate yourself from a passive observer to a trusted advisor. I want you to prepare for a meeting differently. Don't just show up with status updates. Bring a strategic insight they haven't considered, and practice asking and answering power questions. What's the biggest risk we're not talking about? If everything goes as planned, what's the unintended consequence? How does this decision play out 6 months or a year from now? These questions position you as a deep and critical thinker. And trusted advisors always, always, always ask better questions than everybody else in the room. Influence isn't about titles. It's not about being the loudest or the most charismatic. The greatest influence comes from being the person leaders can't afford to ignore when it matters most. Your greatest currency isn't in the authority you hold, it's in the trust you've earned. So the next time you walk into a room where the decisions are being made, I want you to ask yourself, am I just another voice waiting to speak? Or am I the voice they're waiting to hear from? Because that's the true power of a trusted advisor. And starting today, that power can belong to you. If this episode challenged you, I want you to share it with someone who's ready to elevate their influence. And don't forget, your next level of influence and leadership is always one bold, dynamic conversation away. Stay influential, stay courageous, and I'll see you in the next episode. You don't lead like everyone else, so your resources shouldn't look like everyone else's. Welcome to the Game Changers Leadership Collection for maximizing performance, potential, and profitability. This leadership collection features best practices, insights, and frameworks from my executive level work with high impact leaders across industries. It's designed to equip you with the clarity, tools, and strategic language needed to lead with credibility under pressure. Let's be clear. In high stakes rooms, executive presence isn't optional, it's mission critical. That's why I created the Executive Briefing Companion, your strategic script for navigating leadership's most defining moments. Whether you're in the boardroom, in front of the C-suite, or facing complex stakeholder dynamics, this tool helps you rise above the noise and lead with clarity, courage, and command. At its core is the 9 executive questions framework, a high-impact structure that ensures your message cuts through uncertainty, aligns your audience, and positions you as the credible voice in the room. Think of this as your strategic battle card, the leadership intelligence you carry into the room that tests you most. Also included is the language of influence, your cheat sheet for persuasive, purposeful communication. These phrases and framing techniques are drawn from high-stakes boardrooms, top-tier executive coaching, and transformational leadership practices. Use this tool to strengthen your executive presence, navigate tension with calm authority, drive clarity, buy-in, and high-stakes alignment, and speak with power without overpowering. You'll also get a preview of the 10 daily power skills, the high-performance behaviors that fuel the world's most impactful leaders, creatives, activists, entrepreneurs, and change makers. These are not soft skills. They are strategic habits that create undeniable outcomes. You'll be able to self-assess with the high impact leadership scorecard, find your edge, close your gaps, activate your next level. And to ground your leadership in inspiration and intention, you'll receive the power of one poster, a visual reminder that one decision, one conversation, or one action can shift everything. Finally, I'm giving you access to my mini course, 7 leadership blind spots that are secretly sabotaging your culture and success, and how to eliminate them for good. Every tool in this collection is designed to elevate how you think, speak, and lead, because game changers don't follow trends, they set standards. Download the Game Changers Leadership Collection now. It's free, it's powerful, and it's built for leaders like you. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, and this is your Leadership Edge. Thank you for joining me on The Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where we don't follow trends, we set them, and we don't just lead teams, we shift legacies. If today's message challenged, stretched, or inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, tag it, lead through it. Because real leaders don't just consume wisdom, they multiply it. Want to go deeper? Subscribe to the Ultra Influential newsletter for exclusive tools, behind-the-scenes strategy, and weekly mindset shifts for the leader ready to move nations, markets, and minds. Visit www.smpistrategies.com or send a note to leadership@smpistrategies.com. And if you're ready for next level coaching or consulting that positions you as the right leader at the right time in the right place, let's talk. This is what we do, and we do it with precision, power, and purpose. Remember, change isn't just something you lead, it's something you become. Stay bold, stay brilliant, stay a game changer.